Hey, what is up, traders? This is Gluzman here with 7 Points Capital, bringing to you today's trader takeaways. So let's just jump into a couple of setups. Actually, we'll just talk about one stock today. I saw an A+ setup today, an ABIL. We gapped up on some pretty irrelevant PR, and looking at a daily chart, I mean, we have an incredible daily chart, perfect for a fade. And now this stock has a pretty low float of about 2.5 million shares or so. They are running out of cash. They need to raise cash. They do have some dilution going on, so everything's lining up. The only thing is, you know, our job is to manage the risk, because the stock, even though it's a short, everybody knows it. You know, this can happen where it opens up and then squeezes up $3, $4, $5, and it could go up for a couple of days, right? So fundamentally, technically, on a daily chart, everything lines up here. But now on a minute or whatever, 3-minute or 5-minute chart, whatever, you know, you're trading, I'm trading on a 1-minute chart, usually sometimes on a 3-minute chart. We're looking for a topping pattern and a backside type of a move to fade. So to me, this is an A+. So I started to scale in pre-market very small. Let me pull up my executions here. I was scaling in very small, maybe 1/30th of my size, just kind of testing some orders, throwing out some liquidity just to see how, if they absorb it, you know, how they absorb it. If I take liquidity, do they just give it to me, or do they cancel and move the bids lower, stuff like that. So enter just a little bit just to see what happens, and then out of the open they started to buy the offers, try to break it out higher, but it just wouldn't go. The massive volume came in and it just wouldn't go up. And then so that's when I entered almost my full size, maybe like 3/4 or so. And then the idea here is to cover into the wash. If the wash comes, to cover into the wash most of it, and if we hold a lower high, that's a cue for me to enter full size. And that's what I did here. I entered a little bit more. We started to pop. I thought I have to trim a little bit in case we stuff. So before that big stuff, I want to trim it. So I trimmed a little bit, maybe a quarter off or so, maybe a little bit more, just to be safe. And then that was the stuff. So once we stuffed, on the way down, I entered back in full size and started trading around course. So covered most of it here, about half size, rejection of VWAP. So here I'm trading very careful, because we've seen this so many times where we trap shorts. A lot of people are waiting for this VWAP rejection for the entry, and that turns out to be the squeeze. I think let's see, that was QTM today, where we had a similar price action. Even though it was a little bit lower, it was much lower volume and it didn't have a pop, it kind of dropped out of the gates, but then we stopped people out above the morning highs. So I have to be very careful for this type of an action. So I always like to take some profits, especially in the first 5 to 10 minutes. I want to take some profits into any massive washes, any fast washes on volume, and then reassess and see if I want to re-add. So that's exactly what happened here. You know, took some off, and then we bounced, rejected the VWAP. So that's when I re-entered back in full size and scaling out again into any big washes, because this also looked pretty similar to that. And this also I think 38s were holding, 40s were soaking, 38s were soaking a little bit, and we would bounce off of that level and consolidate here. So I was thinking, you know what, I'm going to take some off, and you know, in case it rips, I'm not going to get, you know, stuck full size, but maybe half size. And then into the next big wash, I just I got out because the volume started to get dry, liquidity started to get dry, and the volume started to fade a little bit more. So I just got out, and then from here on, this could go either way. This could kind of grind up and break VWAP, or reject VWAP, or it could grind down. Given the dilution, we do have a grind down. So that would have been a pretty nice stock to hold when there's dilution. They're probably slowly dumping a little bit, trying to raise some cash, but I decided to leave it alone. And speaking of QTM, I did trade QTM today, and that's my loser for the day. So on the tape, it looked like they were dumping out of the gate. They started dumping pretty heavy, like hitting bids and stuff. So I got in shorts, maybe half size or so, and then I covered some at the bottom here. I had some bids out, got filled, and I guess I might have even held the stock because it was just kind of filling me. I didn't get my full fill, and it started ripping, and I just got out once it broke 20. That was my stop, and I got slipped pretty much to the top, and that was the stuff. And then the bids kind of fell out, and I started shorting here lower high, but I wasn't confident in this short. I knew I was chasing, so trimmed a little bit, got back in, and then trimmed a little bit more, and then got out the rest because this was now a grind and I don't want to be participating. So this was a 1 hour loss, a little bit less than that. So that was a decent decent trade, whatever, not a big loss. So because I trimmed here quite a bit, but I definitely could have been adding here had I gotten a better fill here. The only reason I got out is just for risk management. But that's it. These are the takeaways. If you guys have any questions, you can tweet at me at @YourKindaTrader. This is Stan Gluzman. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.